Okay.
All
Very
right,
good. All
here
right.
we
Good
are.
morning.
Hi, everyone. It's Justin with Carpool for Good. And as I had mentioned in a previous post, we're going to start talking to the wonderful community that I've been talking about, and we're excited to support. So today we have Pastor Tony, who I've been texting for the last 2 months about some of the opportunity for us to help support him and his community. So today is just an opportunity for us to get a little bit more intel into the wonderful human being that Pastor Tony is, and really start diving into some of the reasons why we want to support him and his group down there. So Pastor Tony, thank you for joining us. Like I said, today is just an opportunity for us to connect with you. I'd love to hear kind of how you are, and really, I think what would be really interesting for everybody is just to hear your story of how you ended up in Erendira, Mexico, beautiful part of the world, and then we can start talking about some of the things that we're trying to put together for you.
Wonderful. I appreciate you having me. I appreciate meeting you. I appreciate what God does and everything He does. So thank you so much. Just a little bit about myself. We pastor a church called Maranatha, which is we got into this village maybe over 20 years ago. We were coming from a city called Ontario, then we moved to Fontana. So we were driving down 50 weeks, 51 weeks out of the year 20 years ago. And we were going from TJ, and what I started out was just coming in and being support. I came to an outreach and served hot dogs and nachos, whatever the event was. I was just grateful to God, and I wanted to serve him in whatever he would have me to do. I'm not about titles, it's about him. And I believe that he's the one that is to shine. So we believe that. I went from TJ, doing backpack programs, outreach, every type of whatever we would do, we're good. So then we started moving south as we got invited, as we saw the need, and went all the way down to San Quintin. So this is quite a drive week by week. So when we got to Erendira, we came out to do an outreach at a local soccer field, makeshift rock and soccer field. So my job was to reach out to the local pastors at that time. This is 20 years ago. Who was going to do follow up? Who was going to do discipleship? Who was going to reach out to those that came and accepted Jesus as their personal savior? So when I got to the pastors and we did an outreach in the barrio where the church is currently, the pastor's reaction was really heartbreaking to me because their reaction was, you know what, brother, the people of the barrio are a waste of time. They're addicts, they're this and that. It was really the sad part to hear that when a pastor says that another human being is a waste of time, that's disheartening because there's nobody a waste of time because, you know, and so that was disturbing. So we did the outreach and then we continued to come. So when we came, we started to clean up this area where they allowed us to gather. And then when the rains would hit, the whole wash would be filled up, and then the town was discommunicated. So long story short, we kept coming, we kept going. When we would stop at a soldier, which you've been down here, so there's an area where the soldiers stop at you and then they check you, and they would tell me, so okay, so who you are, where are you coming from? Oh, I'm coming from Erendira. What are you? I was a missionary back then, and they're like, the reaction was Erendira. Oh goodness, boy, those people are this and that. The reaction from the soldiers, from people that would pull us over, was like, boy, there was an article that came on the newspaper that these were like if you had a car broken down, they would steal it and break it down, and they would be cooking drugs here. I mean, it was like I would hear like some amazing stories. So what I did, I would begin to connect with the people, and you could see their. I mean, whoever came into the body was like it was going to be a brawl with whoever came from the outside. So here I am, white complected. I'm an outsider looking in, but I wanted to bring the love of Jesus. So that began to connect, having them connect with each other. It was like a fight fest here back in the day. So be able to connect and to let them know that I'm not a threat to them. I am there for good. It has taken them many, many years. As the years have evolved, God called me to put a church together here over many years. So I said, God, what am I gonna do here? Why did you bring me so far away? Driving every day from, from Ontario, from Fontana at that point, every single Friday, the kids would get out, get up in the car. I mean, my son is 32, my daughter is 29. When I started this, my son was 10 and my daughter was 8. We were driving a truck. I forgot but they were small, and then we ended up going up to a Titan because my kid he's a big boy, and going week after week, they came to a point where, man, I was tired. I self-funded. I've never asked anybody for help. It's God that allowed me. I mean, I used to work in the banking system, so I had a pretty decent job, and it was just about serving God. We went to Bible school, and then, it wasn't about what we were doing, but when we were going back and forth year after year after year, I mean, they came to a point where I got tired. I mean, it was like $200-300 back then. It was a lot of money between tacos and gas and just tearing wear. So when I'm going up, it would be Friday coming in, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Sunday night drive all night. Get to the morning, my eyes were burning. The kids watched them up, went into school. There came a point that I was like literally so tired, and I began to say, "Man, God, maybe I should be a lot closer, maybe closer to TJ, maybe closer to where I live." And I remember telling my wife, "Man, I don't know how long I could do this. My eyes are burning, my wallet is shaking." And I said, "You know what? Pray for me." And then what ended up happening as I'm praying, or we were praying, I must have been, maybe the village that we're at is about an hour or so south of Ensenada, maybe halfway to Ensenada, about you're going to the hill that you've been here. I began to cry. God began to minister my heart, and that's been really the catalyst of me. Because he began to talk to me and say, "God, Lord, I am tired." And he says, look at them through the eyes of Jesus. So at that point, I started to see, and he began to show me people, their faces that I've never seen, faces that I had seen, and he would show me through his eyes the finished work of what he would do to their lives. And I would cry. I literally cried all the way till I got to my bed. I mean, you're talking about, 2-3 hours in the border. I mean, it could be anywhere from a short 6-hour trip to a 12-hour trip. It just depends how bad the border is at the time. So I'm crying and I'm thinking, I said, "God, but I'm tired." It's like he began to show me a home that I would come in and I would bring them milk. I would bring them whatever I had. And the gentleman was such an addict that he would lock these families up, and he would go maybe for days, and we'd have to put food through the window because we knew there were kids there, and I was like, goodness. And then when we would see him, he would look at me like he would want me to attack me. And I'm like, "Man, I'm just here to do you good. I'm here to show you the love of Jesus, that he's knocking at your door." And to know now that those lives have been changed, because I saw those pictures. I saw what God, those pictures, I mean, in my heart, where God was showing me. There's a gentleman that currently goes to my church, and he was on his way to hang himself. He's been an addict since he was 12 years old. His situation in his home and his family had been horrific. He said, "You know what, Pastor? I really started consuming because I didn't have anything to eat, and this drug took my hunger away, and now it's taken over my life." So God began to reveal this, that he went and he got himself a rope, because in his mind, the enemy says, "You know what? Why don't you just hang yourself? Your mom is going to cry just for one day. But living this way, you're making her cry her whole life." So he decided in his life, okay, and he got a rope and he put it around a tree and he let himself go. And as he goes, the tree bent. So when he comes to the service, God revealed that, God began to speak into his mind. He said that when he fell down, he got so angry that he didn't take his life. And he said in his mind, he says, you know what, go, today is your day of salvation. His mom is a believer. And he says, but there is no churches here. And we had just barely started coming and doing services in that area. So he comes in and God begins to speak into his life that it wasn't his weight, it was God bending that tree over because he had a purpose for his life. And he just literally falls back because he knew who would have known that? Nobody knew that but God and him. And his life began to change. That's the power of God, that he is changing generations. And now being able to connect, I mean, we live in an area where transportation is very difficult. There is no bus system. Literally, you're here and there is no in and out. So, I mean, no, you have to stand on the road and hopefully somebody goes by and gives you the ride on your way out. Where it's, if you see it's an isolated village away from the main road, so transportation is very limited. When rain hits, the kids don't go to school, so they miss out on another day of school. And those type of things is like, wow, being able to reach out and being able to see what God sees, being able to see the need through the eyes of Jesus, man, it changes your world. Now, it's not an easy task. God never said this was going to be easy. It's we're isolated, things have changed since we got here. Now we got a middle school, now there's a high school. But the kids tell me, you know what, Pastor, why would I go to school when there's either work in the fields that I don't think you need an education for that, or go fishing. There's literally two sources of work right now. So as time has gone by, industry work has begun to develop. So we're excited about that. And now the kids have hope in Jesus, that there is something else beyond what they're living right now. And seeing those faces that God shown me when I was really tired and I was frustrated, and boy, in ministry, you have many times that you just really, okay, God, that's, I think we're good now. But God says, no, be brave and be strong, for I am with you. And we go one more day. We don't know what tomorrow holds, but we know who holds tomorrow. And when you put a smile on a child, oh boy. And I think half of it goes back to my childhood. I grew up as a latchkey kid, and my parents split up. Kind of grew up with my grandma that, we really kind of were on our own. So my life changed because I put myself into a book. I figured when I open a book, I'm an avid reader. I would get into that story. I would get into that, and it would kind of isolate me. But my view of life was, right? My cousins were like, they were into gang banging and they were into this, and they're like, come on, cousin. They were smoking pot, and I'm like, man, my life is pretty crappy. I don't think I want to mess it up that much more. That was my logic, it wasn't really about God. It wasn't that God told me, don't do this, don't do that, don't drink those. So I kind of figured that probably wasn't a good idea because my life was sucky already and I didn't want to ruin it that much more. I mean, that was my theory as a child. So over the years, going back to that, and never having a Christmas present, never having a birthday, never having a cake, never having somebody says, I love you, I'm proud of you. And then seeing in the Bible how Jesus comes out of the baptism and he says, here's my son who I am proud of. I figured I learned that the words have meaning and value. So we can even tell a child, you know what? Things are gonna get better. I'm proud of you, kid. I mean, I was academically in school. I would get medals, achievement award, and I would see the parents of on the end of the stage, getting them some flowers, some balloons, and giving them a hug. And I would just grab my medal. I would grab my certificate, whatever it was, and I would just put it in a big old box, thinking, well, nobody really cares. So, but it doesn't matter. I'm still gonna push myself. But it was pretty sad to see that it didn't matter to anybody. But I did have the logic that it needed to matter to me. But now I see these kids and like, man, their parents are shoot, there's some of them don't even speak the language. I mean, some of them certainly don't know how to read, they never had. And I always told my mom, she's 71 years old. I said, Mom, I was like, how come you never told me you loved me? How come you never told me you were proud of me? I never was a bad kid, but those words have value. So now when I see these kids, I'm outside of school, hey, you're gonna have an awesome day today. And they'll come to me, Pastor, man, she's this test is gonna kill me. I'm having this. I don't understand nothing. And I'll pray for them and they come back, oh, Pastor, I got a 10. 10 is like an A. I got an 8, and I'm like, and oh man, you're awesome. Tomorrow you're gonna get better. You're gonna get better. You're gonna be better. Those words, just that act of kindness. Yeah.
You alluded to the time that we came down there a few months ago, and
Yeah.
I saw everything that you're talking about firsthand. I saw a a human being in yourself and your family finding a place in this wonderful part of the world, absolutely beautiful, and caring about the people there. And I saw when we went to the event and the kids came out from the different parts of the neighborhood and the community and came to your event, they were proud to be there. They were proud that they could bring their families. And so
Yeah.
not only were the kids there, but the parents were there, and they and you guys all treated them as the stars of the show, as they are. And I think watching that happen, that was my first time down in that area, and I was obviously I brought the boys with us, and it was just special for me to see somebody like you who it's not easy to do what you do. Like it's much easier to go a different route and seek other material, success in that way and go and do the whole thing that, we're pushed to do in the States. It's hard to follow your heart and follow, you know, um, what you believe is your offering and go down there and serve. And I was struck by just the humility and the love that you guys created, even when we were back at your home and meeting area. Um, just that you were able to create such a wonderful place for people to congregate and be safe and have food and shelter and it really just struck me as being what I would say is real success is being able to offer and give and serve and I'm so proud to have met you and I'm really excited about how we can just work together on serving that community more. I mean we were there for I think 2.5 days, not even very long. And I left driving back. By the way, those roads are pretty wild.
Yeah.
I think we left late at night Saturday night, and it was like 2 in the morning driving down the road. So it was fun. I think it was raining at the time too. But it's such a good it's just such a wonderful place to serve and to provide. So, what is it? When we were down there a few months ago, one of the things that happened, and the reason why we're even here is Pastor Ronnie asked you, what is it that we can do? How can we help? How can we help your mission? How can we further your mission down here? And you had said right off the bat that you're looking at finding and securing transportation. I think you had talked about how remote of an area is, but maybe just talk a little bit about what this vehicle would do, what the purpose of it is, how it'll bring the community together, and uh, and then we can talk about how to make that happen.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah. Transportation is definitely key. Like I alluded to earlier, there's no transportation literally here. So we're trying to reach out to a village. If you would see the terrain, it's definitely remote, but it's hilly. It's the area is not centered on a particular, the planning was definitely not well thought of. So being able to provide transportation to the kids, which would allow us to connect with the kids, with the parents, and with the teachers, allows us to be really connected even more with the community. Even in the event that you came, that was the first time that they had ever let us that building. That building literally costs money. And the town, the mayor that says, okay, you're doing some good. And we have members of the tribe or the leadership there that are seeing what we're doing. And they said, well, you gotta we can't pick a particular religion. So you guys gotta keep it but now they were so excited. They're like, because we obviously wanted to talk more about Jesus, and they're like, "Are you doing a backpack program, or are you just going to preach to us?" So, obviously, the most important is salvation, but we also want to connect. We want to be very respectful of what we're there to do, and the most important was to show the love of Jesus Christ, and they saw that. I mean, the town mayor was there, the one that was going to be the fire chief, and that has never happened. So we were expecting different results. We didn't know who was going to come, and Marines were kind of going to blow up our event. But in the sense of the transportation, if they see this van, and hopefully we'll be put some type of a graphics on it where we're loving you. Tomorrow could be better with Jesus today. Some message that would just say, "Wow." Make you think. And yeah, and it's driving around the town, picking up people, picking up kids, picking up the elderly. I mean, there's people that literally want to come to church, but they have no way of getting it. They live in the middle of a hill and it's almost impossible to get to them. We literally, as you saw, we got two quads. My wife and I got two quads because there's a point where if there's an emergency and I need to get to them, man, I'm gonna go in the quad, even though it's gonna be all muddy, and I'm gonna figure out how to get there because maybe somebody needs a medication, maybe somebody just needs prayer, and they're so isolated. I mean, literally, it's hills, and they start putting some pieces of wood together, and boom, okay, this is mine now. But getting to them is very difficult, and a van, boy, actually, my vision, and at some point, God is going to allow me to do it, is to have five vans because there's literally five sectors of this community. And boom, everybody hit every single sector of the community and come bring them all to hear the word of God and just have a place, like I said, that safe zone. That's really my goal because I already saw the five sectors and how I want to approach them, how I want to reach out to them. I mean, even in the past, I used to do. Uh, I mean, this is all of my research. I worked in banking, so and I said, okay, we're gonna reach out to the elderly, the widow, and the children, right? As God would have us. So I would have people representing their five different areas. Okay, I want you to bring me. We're gonna have a meeting. You tell me what are the top priorities. I went to just to give you. Hopefully, I'm not getting off the van situation, but this has relevance to it. I went to this gentleman. I visited him. And he's like, okay, Pastor. Every 2 weeks, I would do my round on that block. And he said, okay, Pastor, either come talk into politics or religion. You got to keep stepping. I said, I'm not here to bother you. If you need prayer, rah, rah, rah. And then I would come again. The one time he opened a gun on me. And I said, I don't mean no harm. I'm just here. God bless you if you need any prayer. And I would scoot along. All his kids were at it. So I began to work with the kids. I mean, kids being teenagers, and God began to do something. So I would follow up on that same blog of my evangelistic walk. And I said, hi, I would always approach him with respect. And he's like, do you need any prayer? Do you need somebody to talk to? And at that time, he says, you know what? You can pray for me. And he accepted Jesus. He's like, I'm not gonna go to your church because you're in the body and all those people are just bad people. I was like, it's no problem. I'll bring the word to your house. I mean, this guy is in his 70s, right? He's an elderly man. He probably is the town patriarch. He has passed away since, but so I'm going to his house. I'm connecting it. So one time he arrives at the church. This is like so it's ingrained in my mind because he comes into the church and he walks in. When he walks in, the people that were turning around are like, "What?" They've never expected him to walk into a church. So I mean, I was already doing the message, and he comes and he kneels down. His knees were busted. He could hardly walk because his life was just a bad life. It was a consequence of his life. And he kneels and he's crying, and all the people are like, "What?" God touched his heart. But when I went to his house, this is what kind of drives me to get to the elderly and get to those people that we can't get to. When I saw the way he goes to a restroom. This is another project that I since have done, making bathrooms for the elderly. I mean, they have to go to an outbox. So when it rains, it's slippery. So this gentleman, he slipped into the outbox, literally had that bad stuff up to his neck, and he locked himself by his arms. They had to pull him out with a rope. He really could have died. I'm like, what is a 70-some-year-old man in the rain slipping and hurting himself? I'm like, oh my goodness. So that began to tug at my heart to see those type of things. Long story short, when I started to do, okay, everybody brings in the sectors and we're going to prioritize who is on the top of the list. Who is the biggest need? And then I would change, okay, now you're going to switch to this sector and you're going to be on this sector because I don't want you to just bring your family and the needs that, your buddy system. We're going to be moved by the need. And they would come and tell us, Pastor, there's so many people that want to come to church, but they have no way of getting to church. We don't have no gas to go pick them up. We don't have no room. We're lucky we even, we barely get to church, but their biggest needs is they want to hear sermon. They want to feel the love of God. They want to receive, they want to come to church. How do we get to them? It's like, well, we need to pray for a van. We really need transportation because that's going to change the whole community. These are the patriarchs. These are the previous generations. And now we're going to come together and say, you know what, let's all work together to have an impact on these kids. And they see me as a positive impact. They say, okay, Pastor, okay. And that's why when they voted, they literally had all the town leaders had a vote for allowing us to use the building. That's the main hall, the main social hall there. That's where they have all their meetings and whatnot. So or that's why if you saw we all wore shorts, I mean shirts, letting people know that what we are, where we're doing, and kind of identify us as we're there to bless you. We're not here to definitely
It
be in
it's
trouble.
a beautiful community center. That
Yeah,
was absolutely
yeah.
gorgeous. Yeah, the
I was
parking is
surprised. I
fantastic.
was expecting to pay rent. I was expecting to,
Hey,
I was like, wow, that was such a blessing.
so you talked about, the this van bringing, the kids from remote areas down to either the church or school or just help connect them with their day-to-day schedules. But you also said that a lot of it is connecting with the elderly who, in many ways are the originators of that village, of that area. And without that ability to get them down into town, they're sort of lost in the
Definitely.
hills there. And,
Absolutely.
it's so interesting because I think we look at it, especially, living in the second largest city in the country, you're so, we're so, connected with transportation and of course, the apps that are available now. But really this is about, getting people from where they're staying during the day to literally other people and being able to do it in a servitude way. You also said that your vision is to have multiple vans, and I just think that's such a special big picture idea. Like, what would it look like to have you and the church's name on these vans, going around to the community saying, "Hey, thank you for letting me, pitch a tent. I love being here. I love the community. We're here. We're building our own transportation system. And you know what? It's for you." That to me is super exciting from just a
That is
vision
exciting.
standpoint. So I am 100% behind that.
Imagine if you're an elder or any person, you're in an area and you need help, you need to get to medical assistance, and man, you're pretty much at Jesus. And what do?
Yeah.
Who's going to come? Especially some people that don't even have families nearby, and they're at that age. I mean, if you could see the area that's quite remote, to get them to a hospital then it's Ensenada, I mean, it's literally an hour away. To get them to the
Yeah.
next town over is 30 minutes away. There is no gas stations here. There's limited supermarkets. I mean, it's a township that is in development stage, but that's also good. I mean, there's no Uber.
There's no
There's
Uber.
nothing. There's literally, if there would be a bus coming in and out, that would even
Yeah.
be cool. But that's
Ah,
not even there. You're stuck here unless somebody gives you a ride out. I mean,
yes.
that is incredible, right? It's
Yeah.
like in the next town over is what, 30 minutes away. So it's not like you're gonna walk. And you can. Maybe most people do. They get a bike and get over to get some whatever.
Yeah.
But when you're in that age, like I will go
Yeah.
in there, like, how did you get help? I mean, there was a one time when there wasn't that much widespread of cell phones. Remember, I came to this village back when there was pagers and all that, so it's been quite some time. I was like, man, I was like thinking of getting them some radios for emergency purposes. If you have an emergency, how do we get to you? How do we know you need
Yeah.
help? You literally fall over and you have no way, you're just gonna die there alone. It's like, how do we do our rounds to make sure that everybody's okay? How you doing, Mr. Sanson? Are you still there? I mean, these are
Yeah.
people that are in wheelchairs, they're in walkers. The little story that I talked about this elderly man that went to church, and when he said, he took his hat off and he allowed me to pray for him. He's like, you know what? Could you please go pray for this gentleman? And this, and that. He is sick and this. So man, I was ready to leave. I would come in, and a lot of times I would be visiting and praying, and man, my time would be 10, 11 o'clock driving out and driving all night because I needed to get the kids at school by 7:30 the next day in Fontana. So I was like, okay, but he asked me. So I went to this gentleman, and man, he took out he had some type of skin disease where his skin was coming off. It was on his legs, and he was probably in the 70s. And when I went over there, I began to pray for him. I said, "Here, your friend so and so asked me to come and pray for you." He's looking at me like, and I began to say, "I'm going to pray for you, but would you like to accept Jesus?" And he would just not say nothing. And then I would ask him again, and I said, "I'm still going to pray for you. I'm not going to force you to accept Jesus." But the biggest miracle is that. And then the third time, he nodded yes, and he began to cry, and he received the Lord. So I prayed for him. His situation was quite no family member. I remember previously we got him a walker, right? So he thought he was driving a Harley Davidson because now he had mobility. So I always remember that, because how did we get to that man? Because somebody said he was there alone. He must have passed away like maybe 3 weeks after that, and he made the most important decision of his life, and God allowed us to enter his home. The first thing is for them to put their barriers down, right? Because we're stranger to them. They're all that white guy. I mean, I got blue eyes and green eyes. I'm like this gringo coming to their door, so I'm there to love them. I'm
Yes,
there to
sir.
represent the love of Christ and to show them. So can we get to you? We're not there to take anything from you. We're there to be added and teach, the hope of Christ. And that, brother, those type of stories were like, man, if we had a transportation, if we had a van, oh my God, let's get to you, and even in the quad, how do I put you on the quad to get you down from where you live? It's almost impossible. So this gentleman that actually coming to the church, he's in a wheelchair. They cut his leg off, so he has a missing leg. He's struggling to adjust, his life is, they're cutting parts off because of diabetes. And he's like, he's coming to church. So we managed how to pick him up. So that is numerous stories here. The nutrition is poor. The medical attention is definitely not up to par. The lack of services emerging. Now we actually have a fire department. It's a makeshift one. So, um, things are changing, and I thank God. And transportation is certainly would be a positive factor for this community, and certainly for the the work of God.
I I see 5 vans just going
Mhm.
through town
Yes.
down the route. And I think, you know,
That'd be so powerful.
I love it. And I had mentioned to you over text too that, just being down there with you and seeing just this faith that you have where you are going into an area that some people might say is a little unsafe at times, and doing it through just pure love and how goodness can be a shield to all of that, and that we use that as a really as a tool to make these big decisions. And I watched you do that in that short amount of time that we were down there, and I just feel that you know this this thing that we're creating and advancing is just a testament to what happens when you put that first. Put
Yeah.
that first, put the service first, and support people because that's where your heart is. I love that. That's what this is all about. So, I had a question for you before we sign off. You talked about, it's so interesting to me because you had talked about how before you moved the family down there that you were driving multiple hours, and you had to get back in time to get to the kids to school. I can tell you when we came back after visiting you, we were at the border for many hours, and we finally got through, and obviously we had the next I think the next day off, so we were able to recuperate. But when you were doing that for so long, and I know you probably got into your fair share of traffic at the border.
Um,
What is driving you? What is driving you to get home, do your normal work throughout the week, and get back in that car and go again? Like, what was that like? What was that like leading up to that next trip down? Like, how was your heart feeling during that time?
it was exhausting, but what drove me was the compassion and the need. I was like, of course, everything was, I mean, it probably by Wednesday I was functional. Tuesday I was so exhausted. And then here we go back again Friday. And then week after week, year after year, brother, like I told you, there's numerous amount of times where like, oh, but I was driven by the the eyes of the people, the kids, the situation. Look at if we don't do nothing, the cartels are taking over.
Mhm,
Society is decaying at a very, very rapid rate.
mhm,
And goodness, can we just do something to impact another human being, which it benefits everybody. You don't have to be religious or nothing. It impacts everybody. When we have a healthy home, when we have a home that's free of chaos, when all of a sudden there's a different way to live in peace, to be functional, to be productive, to be a person of peace. When you have hope, changes the dynamic. The cartels are taking over. You're very right. This is a very dangerous. Mexico is not a walk in the park, not no means. And you know what? I've had people come to me with a baseball bat, waving for me outside the church because they were mad that people are getting saved and are not consuming. They're losing clients. So they attest that to me. And they're like, Pastor, so and so, the drug runner is out there waiting for you with a baseball bat. He's gonna knock you. Now, whoa, really? So I remember approaching him and said, Sir, I'm not here to cause any problem. I'm just here to Jesus is doing this. If you gotta get mad, you probably need to get mad at Jesus, and ended up praying for that person that he was coming to beat me. Literally, brother, there's been times where we used to have another place where we used to gather, and they locked us up with a chain, and they were yelling at us, and there was a guy that says, you know what, before the year's time, I'm gonna have him killed, or I'm gonna kill him myself. And before that year expired, I literally baptized him. That's God. That's not me. I'm not there to harm them. And if we as a society, those that are hearing this, do not do anything that decay, that I mean, the cartels are here already. They're not as relevant as in other parts of Mexico. It's just complete chaos. But they're getting this is a seaport village, so it's close proximity to the state. So you better believe there's activity there. They see my if you saw my truck, it says Maranatha. If you saw my vehicle, they said Maranatha. They identify me. I literally had them follow because they know who comes and who goes. I mean, it's not as bad as other places. I don't want to scare people off, but they definitely know. There's literally have tailed us, and they realize, oh, it's past the Tony. Oh, no, he's good. Let him be. But I've had a visit from them, and I said, you know what? God could change your life too. And he has changed life. I mean, I've probably baptized 50, 60 of the people that were dealing, drugging, selling. There's people that I've connected to they have disappeared because the cartels have knocked them out. But I remember sharing the love of Jesus Christ to them. So I'm thinking, man, before you check out of this earth, man, you make peace with God in Jesus' name. And I thank God that I had that opportunity because that could have been in the last moment of their life. Boom, just changed the direction. The kids, they're coming up on that situation, and this for easy money, I went to fix a car, and the guy with the mechanic, he respected me, oh pastor, whatever. I mean, if I would break down anyway, he would go and help me. And he had this gentleman, and this is a side story. He's like, man, I let him go. Why? I talked to him. I said, you know what, man? I get paid to kill. They gave me $1,000. I'll take anybody out. It's like somebody's life is $1,000. It's like, yeah, it's either them or me. Like, wow, because they had desynthesized themselves where, it's part of life, whatever. I don't kill good people. This is hiring me to kill bad people. But you're still killing. I mean, he was having a really candid conversation with. I was very surprised he was so open about it, but it was like he was selling candy in the corner. I was like, where has society gone to where it doesn't even flinch at taking somebody else's life? Wow. I was startled by it. I said, would you let me pray for you? He was like, well, yeah, it's not going to do me any good. Believe me, it will do you good. I don't know when or how. He allowed me to pray for him. He was very candid. He respected me. I wasn't there to harm him or go snitch on him or whatever. He was a very dangerous person. That he's killing, somebody's going to come and find and kill him. I said, man, before you go, you make peace with God. That's only done through Jesus Christ. And say, yeah, Pastor, you're good. Thank you. No, I appreciate you. When I'm ready, I'll let you know. I said, well, God is always going to be with his arms open. But you know what? These are fathers, these are kids, the mothers that are crying. And I want to reach out to them. And you know what? Whatever we can do, we get into their lives. We get into their space by love, by showing something that we can do a benefit to them. And then God begins to do the work because there's a different way to live. But you better believe it, man. Society decaying. Whew. And I believe it. Danger is in the air. There's literally areas, man, you can feel death in the air. But hey, that's where Jesus shines better. I'm good. Because when God says it's time to check out, it's time to check out. But yeah, absolutely, there's danger. But you know what? Man, God is doing some amazing things, and He's going to continue to do them. Our church is growing, and I'm kind of growing very slowly because where are we gonna? You saw where we like right now. We got rained in. We literally have no place for the kids. So I even told the church, man, you guys love me. I mean, I don't care about any gifts. Just bring me a bag of cement. I'm gonna go get the gravel. I'm gonna get the sand. We're gonna put this floor. I don't need anything from anybody, but oh, Pastor, okay, put a peso in there and let's put a bag of cement and put these kids. These kids are playing in the mud. They're playing in the dirt. And how we have no place to put them is the sad part. So it's like every single step is God ordained. But if we don't do nothing, the enemy takes foothold. The evil starts to take over. And man, that's not cool. It's like I was preaching about last week, like the four lepers. It says, man, what do we got to lose? Man, we're dead already. Let's get in there. And then when they got in there and they saw all the good, They're like, shoot, we can't, this is bad for us to keep it to ourselves. We gotta let everybody else know. And I'm that person that says, you know what? There's a better way to live. I gotta let somebody know. And that's why we do the thing we do. Like you say, what drives you? And the compassion, the love, the sad to see decayness, and we're just standing there like, wow, whatever. You druggie, you deserve that. But you're affecting the whole community. It's like Jonah's, you know, disobedience affected everybody on the boat. Everyone was throwing their stuff out, right? It cost somebody else something because the disobedience, whatever the reason was, if we don't do something, society is going to pay a price. And if we have ability to do that, why not? We pray, praise the Lord. God moves the hand, and He's going to touch the heart of somebody. Says, "Yeah, I want to do something. It's not for me, man. I don't care. I just want to leave an impact on somebody else before it's time to me to check out. If I can make a difference in somebody else, why not?" mean, my kids are big. This is my wife and I down here. When I remember when I moved down here, my daughter's like, "Daddy, you got a master's in economics, and why don't you just come back and work?" I was working in the banking system and the energy system. Like we got a house with a pool with, in a cul-de-sac in a very calm part of the world, and it's like next to the airport. I worked in a high-rise building, so like seeing you make an impact on somebody else. Oof, it's just priceless. The smile on somebody that was crying. Oh boy. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'm crazy, but I think I could identify myself crying. And maybe that brings something. And I know the love of Jesus Christ. I mean, I didn't come to Jesus because I was an addict. I didn't come to Jesus because I was, I needed a crutch. I came to Jesus because I come to realize that, man, I could work at the biggest jobs. I was making 30 or 50 grand a month. That's way more than I needed. And there was something that just wasn't checking. I had the motorcycles, I had the boats, I was living, I'm not saying large, but certainly much very comfortable. But I don't know. I don't know how to say that. I remember leaving because I got very, very sick. I lost everything. I was living out of a car for almost 2 years, and I remember God says, "Hey, you need to get back on the saddle, boy." I lost my wife. I lost my family. I lost everything. And then you hear the voice, and the enemy says, "So what good did it do you to serve God?" And I remember God talking to me. I remember I was living in my car, and somebody put a paper in the front of my car, and I thought it was a parking ticket. And I got up there all upset, and it was Joshua 1:9. And I'm telling God, man, God, I don't know if I could do this anymore. Yeah, you can. You take care of but and I will take care of you. I'm like, it's the best decision I've ever made.
I could
Can't
say
always share it.
there's a
God,
lot of
God
people
is good.
there that see the world good, but they see a need,
Okay?
but there's only a few that take action, and that's what you're doing. And what I see too is that when you take action and you do it in favor in your position of servitude, others get in line. I mean, one of the things that I had mentioned to you earlier was that you're creating an army of people that want to make this happen. I mean, we're on a text thread with Ronnie, Raul, Charlie. We are actively looking at different opportunities out there to get you what you need, and I can tell you that there's other people that want to get added to that thread and just be a part of this. And so when you lead with heart and you lead with goodness and you lead with you are you are forever in favor. And that's what I hope happens here. I was telling you, like, who knows what's going to happen, but if
Amen.
we create action and we trust and we believe, I think really good things can happen. And we're going to be dreaming of this
Yeah.
the five vans going up and down
Mhm.
the hills there, and let's see what we
Absolutely.
can do.
And you know what to allude it to the question, what drives me? Because I've been exhausted. And when I was exhausted, God spoke to me to see things or see the people, the family that we're trying to connect through the eyes of Jesus as a finished work. We don't see it now, but if we could see the work of Jesus in those families, ooh, our perspective would be different.
Mhm.
I see these addicted families living in horrible conditions, their kids living in horrible conditions. You wouldn't even have a dog living in there.
Mhm.
And seeing Jesus transform and putting a smile on it and bringing hope. Oh boy,
Mhm.
you know, we could have that little bit of part in what he's gonna do. That's exciting. That drives you, man. It's like, okay, what's next, God? What's the next adventure? What's the next mission trip? What's the next?
Yeah.
And it's never a waste of time when we do it with a heart unto God.
Yes,
But a
sir.
child, put a smile on a child, on another human being with hope in Christ, when the peace of God into that person, and man, they just see different. A person that is grateful will see things that others won't. And I'm just grateful what God did in my life.
Mhm.
And all I can do is just, hey, man, check this out. It's like the
Yeah.
woman at the well. Hey, man, look at what he did.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
knows
yeah.
everything about me. And they said that they went and they heard and they came back and told her, hey, we believe first of what you told us, but now we believe because
Yeah,
he
yeah.
told us. And that's the
Yeah.
point, man. We're just a pivot point because
Yeah.
Jesus is the one they need to go to. But it starts with us, putting a
Yeah.
walking billboard. To have them just turn around and say, man, have you considered Jesus? What if I always say little messages like, what if everything in the Bible is true? Consider your decision on that. And it just makes you like, oh, yeah. Even for a split second, just make you think, what's tomorrow?
Yeah.
What's what God is about? It's not about religion. We're not doing this psychological approach. We're trying to really consider Christ,
Mhm.
what he has done and what he can do. So praise the Lord, man. My battery goes low. But anyway, brother, God
I
bless
appreciate
you.
it. Yes, sir. Thank you for taking the time. I appreciate it. I think
Boy,
um, uh, anyone that's listening, we can follow you on Facebook. I think it's Erendira, right under.
Maranatha de Erendira. I used to have my name on there, but it's really
Okay.
not about me. It's about the church. My
Yes,
wife is
sir.
she has her name, but for
Okay.
me, it's Maranatha Erendira, which Maranatha is the name of the church, announcing the coming of Christ. It's really what it came down to. When I came down to this village, that was the keys. Like I said, God, what do I do here? What did you bring me down here? What is my purpose here? And then
Uh,
God said, Maranatha. I was like, what does that mean? I mean, I had no clue that it was a huge organization. It's not even about that. He's like, I want you to just keep the simple message simple. Just tell them that I'm coming soon. And man, I don't want them to be left out. And
yeah.
that's it, man. I don't make it too complicated. It's simple message. And I was like, but where did I say? Well, First Corinthians 16:22. And then I had literally, brother, very little clue. And that was the way that they would encourage self in the church of the first century when they were being tortured. Maranatha, man, Jesus could be coming this day. We're torn by the lions and we're getting burned at the stake and we're getting all this. And Maranatha, brother, it wasn't God bless you, it was Maranatha. Because man, it could be just now. And this pain that we're going through now, it'll all be worth it. And that was their driving force. And when I came down here, that's the reason I put Maranatha. We're not part of a Maranatha organization. We're not part of, it's not even about that. It's about man, God could come tonight, man, make peace with God. It is for your own good. But the
Yeah.
came and they said, man, the demons are, man, they're doing this, and Jesus says, no, you need to rejoice that your name is
Yeah,
written.
yeah.
Boy, that is the biggest thing. The enemy he has to, because I've given you authority. But boy, your biggest is that your name be written in the book. Like, and that's what it's about, brother. You fill people with so much doctrine and so much, which has its value. But boy, when they come to understanding, man, the biggest gift, Jesus himself says, boy, that's what you should really be boasting about. And that's really what it's about. You know, he has given it, he has done it, and boy, we need to just take it. We need to receive it, and we need to
That's
rejoice
right.
about it. Because he paid a big price for us to be left out. That's not cool. He's that cool. So that's really where my approach is to ministry. Just get in
Thank
there and
you
just
for thank you for taking action and just loving that community. I can tell you, just being down there, just how special it is, and how amazingly beautiful it is, and how amazingly beautiful the people of the town are, and how hardworking everybody is, and how wonderful the food is, and it's a special place, and I know that. Um, the community is far better having you down there leading this and supporting this. And I think anything that we can do to help, propel your mission, we'd love to do it. So I'm putting this out there. We're going to see what happens. Going to share it around to some partners, and we're going to keep working on it. So thank you for jumping on, and follow along, and we'll see if we can get those 5 vans moving around town soon.
God be the glory, whatever he done, it is well with my soul.
Yes,
It is
sir.
well with me, and he has ways, and he knows how. He'll do it in his timing. So keep us in prayer. I do appreciate your time. It's such a joy to see you and to speak to all those that might be
We're going to
listening.
do it again. We're going to
Yeah,
do some updates. Yeah.
I appreciate it. God bless you. I send you the warmest hug, my wife, and
Yes,
those that
sir.
are over here. You guys are in our prayers. Remember, it's really not about us. It's really not about the vans. It's really about how can we just reach
Yeah.
people.
Yes,
And
sir.
that is key. Number one goal. If we could do it better, man, reaching out, how do we get to them for them to get to Jesus? Just like the woman in the well, she was embarrassed. She brought her background, she was a Samaritan, she had so many things against her, but this is what Jesus did to me. And now he can do it to you. Boom, they went to him. So that's the point of us reaching out with love,
Yeah.
testimony, and pointing them to the source, which is Jesus. Amen, brother. Thank you so much.
Amen, brother. Thank
A
you.
joy. Thank you.